Hey everybody, welcome to part 2 of Star Fox 64. Now I've gone back to Medio to show like the other pathway that you can access if you meet the right conditions and can access a warp zone. There are 2 warp zones in the game, and I'm going to show you both of them in this video. This one is not too hard. You just gotta fight through all 7 of these rings, though it does get tricky after the first few because you start losing control of your ship and flying faster and faster. And if you manage to hit all 7 of them, we'll hit ludicrous speed.
What have I done? My brains are going into my feet.
Welcome to the warp zone. If you're the kind of guy like me who just wants to get as many hits as possible, this is such a great place to do it. There are so many enemies and things to shoot in this part of the stage. Like, you're gonna see, like, it's not gonna take me long. It's gonna take me like only like 30 seconds to make that counter go up to 200, earning me the medal easily. There's not even a boss in this part of the stage or whatever. But you're gonna see a lot of points like this where I hit the brakes just so that I have more time to take down as many things as I can. It's kind of a cheesy tactic, but you'll see me using it a lot in this playthrough. You also see me putting myself in danger a lot of the time. Like, I'm good enough at this game that I don't die a lot. I don't think I've actually died in years, unless it was just a retry stage. I'll explain that in a little bit, and how that works. But I haven't like actually gotten killed by an enemy or a boss in ages. So I'm good at the game in that way, but I'm not good at avoiding taking damage. I am the kind of player that will put myself in harm's way, just so I might have an opportunity to shoot at another enemy. It's a very reckless way of playing the game, but you kind of have to if you really want to make those numbers go up super high. But yeah, that's just kind of my play style. Some people may think it's kind of silly. Some people may think I look pretty foolish, you know, judging from this gameplay footage. This is a really good place to get lots of bombs and other power-ups. Like if you've lost your laser upgrades by clipping a wing or something in Medio, this is a really easy place to get yourself fully stocked up and upgraded for the next stage. And that's it. No boss at the end. Yeah, we don't fly to Katina. This is where things start taking a different turn. And I got a medal again, because of course I did. So like I said at the end of the last part, I'm gonna do things a little differently than most people who do Let's Plays of this game. I'm going to Katina, because you know, it's another spot that's pretty early in the game, you know, just more of Cornelius territory. I'll talk about what I really like about the pacing of this game a little bit, but yeah, depending on how things go here, you'll either be able to go to Solar, right in the center of the map, or Sector X, which is at the bottom of the screen.
Katina is battling the enemy. Will you help him out?
Affirmative, General.
Good luck.
Hang on, guys. Help is on the way. Fox, you made it. Bill, is that you? I can't believe it. We can catch up later, Fox.
Welcome to Katina. This is a pretty interesting stage. All I can say is the lock-on is your best friend here. Don't go shooting everything willy-nilly because there's a lot of Cornelian fires to watch out for. I don't know if there's any way to like fail the stage by taking too many of them down, but you'll see that even in this run where I'm pretty careful and use the lock-on as much as I can to target the enemies, I still end up taking just a few of these guys down and I feel really bad about it.
That's one of ours.
Like, whoops. I seriously thought that was one of Venom's fighters. Like, they even say in the story, oh, Venom painted their fighters green to confuse, you know, Star Fox. Thankfully, you know, your targeting system is advanced enough that it'll only over-target enemies. And even though there's that whole blast radius thing to take into account that I talked about in part 1, you know, Venom's fighters and Cornerius fighters are usually spaced far apart enough that you never really have to worry about the explosion taking out the Cornerian fighter along with the Venomian fighter. But here's what most people remember about this stage, because it's kind of a homage to a certain movie from the 90s, from around this time, as you'll see. So this stage is pretty tame so far. It's kind of like how Katina began, but this is where things take a turn for the kind of crazy. I'm just gonna shut up for a moment. I'm a terrible commentator.
Here they come!
Saucer, as they call the giant flying saucer in the sky, isn't difficult to take down by any means. Just shoot down the enemies it releases until it opens its hatches to release more of them, and just rinse and repeat. The hatches are 4 of its 5 weak points. Once you destroy all 4 of them, the 5th weak point will be revealed, and you'll have a certain amount of time to take down the boss before it unleashes a giant beam just like an Independence Day that will completely destroy the base. So, like Katina, you know, when dealing with Star Wolf, there is a sort of failure state that will knock you down to the bottom pathway. So, just be careful. Thankfully, Bill will let you know whenever one of the weak points is revealed, so you can always turn back. One of the things I think is rather brilliant about this part of the stage is that if you still haven't started locking onto enemies, they further incentivize you to do it by grouping them together in like groups of 2 or 3 or even 4. So they are further incentivizing you to lock on, but for the chance to get more hits. And I just think that's a really smart touch, you know, especially since there are so many enemies now. They're not just flying in different directions, it's just the stage has gotten more intense. And I just took down the last hatch, I think? Yeah, there you go. So now the 5th weak point will be revealed, and you have a minute to take it down. Thankfully, it doesn't like retreat into the main body at any point like the hatches do. It'll be completely exposed for the rest of the stage. So just keep hammering those shots, and you should be able to take it down. Oops. Yeah, that's not something you're going to see a lot, but I do clip my wings just a couple of times in this playthrough. When you clip your wings, not only do you have a harder time maintaining your lift and you start drooping down, your lasers also get degraded to the bottom state. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. You saw what happened to my lasers. Just don't clip your wings and you'll be able to keep your blue lasers. Anyway, I win. This right here is one of the most beautiful shots, if not the single most beautiful shot in the entire game, I think. When you see like all of the Cornerian fighters that you manage not to hit like an idiot, and they just fill up the screen, and you see them backing up the Star Fox team, and it's just, ah man, it's so glorious. One of my favorite shots in the whole game.
You too, Bill.
So yeah, Fox and Bill, they trained in the Cornerian Academy for a time. Fox kind of went his own way while Bill was a pilot for the Cornerian Army. And this isn't the only time we'll see him in this game. Like, that's one thing that kind of bugs me about Star Fox Zero is Bill only appears in one stage and then you never see him again, so he's really just fan service. But in this game, if you go to Katina first, and then you go to Solar or Sector X, well, you'll get a little special surprise that you'll see in a minute.
That area's an oven. Don't go burning that R-wing. Be reasonable, Fox.
I'll be careful.
Good luck.
Keep an eye on your shield gauge.
Welcome to Hell, folks, or Solar as it's called.
The R-Wing might not make it.
This stage has an interesting gimmick. You are constantly losing health, and so are your teammates. It only seems to happen when the text boxes appear, though.
Don't fly too low. Your ship can't take it.
Listen to Pepe, guys. He knows what he's talking about. See, he just explained the entire gimmick of the stage for me. I don't really have to delve into it anymore. Thankfully, there are lots of opportunities to get health, like these. You know, just shoot enemies and rocks, and many of them will spew silver rings to keep you going. So this isn't that hard of a stage. It's actually pretty short and easy. And oh look, it's Bill!
Don't get too excited. Here we go.
So yeah, there's Bill to save the day. He only appears for a little bit, but still, he can be a lifesaver, like if you downgrade your lasers and you're low on health at the time.
Watch yourself, Fox.
See ya, Bill. We'll see him again. So, yeah, it's not much else to say about this stage. It's pretty simple and plain, really, but I do want to clear up something about it that has apparently had people confused for about 2 decades now. Despite appearances and the name, Solar isn't really a star. It's definitely not the star of the Lylat system. Lylat is, and Lylat is probably much bigger and hotter. I mean, 9,000 degrees, stars are much hotter than that. And if this was like Lylat's sun, you can bet the R-Wings would burn to a crisp, like a scrap of paper, the second they came close to it. Solar is kind of a planet, but not really. It's like, it could have been a planet, it probably would have cooled down if it weren't placed at the exact center of a perfect triangle of radioactive space clouds that have just bathed it and kept it burning and melting and just being an inferno forever. And I actually think that's a really cool idea for a level. It's one of my favorite things about the Lylat system's map as we see it in this game. Like, the whole idea of the sectors is just really cool to me. I know it seems like a really stupid explanation, but they don't really imply that this is Lylat's sun, but it is an easy mistake to make, so I can see how people would come to that conclusion. Anyway, it's just one of those things that really bugs me, so I wanted to talk about it here. I find Solar to be one of the more interesting stages in the game, at least thematically, and I think it looks amazing in the 3DS remake of this game. You guys see, it's like there's solar storms and everything. It does look a little more like a sun there. Personally, though, I kind of prefer the background it has here, where it just looks like you're inside a fire. Anyway, I do find it interesting that there are apparently creatures that can survive here. Again, if it were actually a full-blown sun, it'd be like even less believable than it already is. Anyway, just keep destroying everything you see, and they'll spew out more silver rings that'll keep you going. I really like the tone of this stage and the others on this row, as I'll explain in part 4. You'll see.
This is the enemy bioweapon? Andross is an insane fool.
Data analysis complete. Here it comes.
Say hello to Volcane, guys. I already drained some of his health by shooting at one of his arms before. He has 3 weak points, the arms and then his head. It's actually a pretty easy boss, but it is one of the more visually exciting ones just because, you see it diving into the lava and then, jumping out to create huge waves. It's a pretty exciting battle, especially when it gets really far away and it just seems so massive and intimidating. I don't really know how you're supposed to dodge that attack. Maybe you're supposed to boost over it. Maybe if I had hit the brakes a little sooner, then it would have just stopped before it hit me. Again, it's not that hard of a fight, but it is pretty darn fun. It has a lot of attacks, it's always changing things up, and I usually would have taken it down by now, but you'll see I kind of take my time with some of these bosses just to give them a chance to really show what they can do. Because that's one thing that always bugs me in some games, is when they take down enemies or bosses just like that before you even see what's supposed to make them cool. So yeah, Andross apparently created a monster that was tough enough to live inside this thing, and the others are just baffled that such a creature could exist, even though we've already seen a bunch of creatures like it already. Did I just say already twice in the same sentence? I'm sorry. Anyway, tonally, I love this stage, and the 2 stages that sort of correspond with it on the map, Sector X, which we'll also be seeing in this video, and Zonus, which we'll be seeing in part 4. I'll delve a little more into what I think is interesting about this game's pacing and the layout of the stages, because I actually think it's kind of ingenious. We're almost done with this boss fight. I wanted to show him doing this at least once, because this attack is awesome. He dives out as high as he can and causes this huge tidal wave. That is so cool. I mean, he bleeds lava. How is this thing not cool? I don't think there's really any way to fail this stage and just get a mission complete. a few of these stages, like, there is no way to get to an even higher tier, so you just beat it and you keep going along that path and you'll say mission accomplished. But there's only really a few stages like that. Most of these stages...
You are so lucky, Fox.
Yes, I am. Most of these stages will give you access to more than one of the next row. Now, if I were playing this game normally, I would proceed to the 5th row of stages. But again, I want to show off, these things in a particular order that I would really like to see if they did let you play through all 15 stages in one run. So we're going to go to Sector X, which is where we would have gone after beating Starwolf. Well, probably after failing to beat Starwolf on Katina. You'll see.
Reports indicate that Andros is working on some secret weapon.
I'll check it out.
Good luck.
Let's take out that weapon, boys.
This is one of my favorite stages in the game, partly because there's so many enemies to kill, with ridiculous ease. Just, make sure you have a few bombs, launch them at the right time, and you'll take down dozens of fighters. It is super easy to get a medal in this stage, just because of how many you can take down at the start of it. So yeah, I'm sorry if my commentary hasn't been that inspired. There are points where I end up clearing certain parts almost too fast for me to get my points across it, and there are some parts where I suddenly forget what I wanted to say because the stage goes on for too long. But this is one of my favorite stages. It's got a very mysterious, dreary vibe to it. You'll see in a minute. So, we came here to this space to take down some secret weapon. You've got this really foreboding, almost emotional music that makes you wonder what could possibly be ahead. And
Somebody beat us here. It's all gone.
this is one of the most tense stages in the game. It's got such an interesting atmosphere. It's so bleak, and that sector and that cloud in the background just it kind of casts this weird shadow over everything.
What the heck is that? They're on me. I'm getting careless. Thanks, Fox.
So one of the other things I really like about this stage, aside from the incredible atmosphere of it, is it gives you 2 chances to access other routes. And if you don't manage to do anything right in this stage, you'll be stuck on the bottom path for the last 3, but I'd say it's pretty fair. One of them is just unlocking another warp zone, like the one we saw at the beginning of this part in Medio. The other is just taking the boss down within a certain amount of time, so it's kind of like what happened with Starwolf in the last part. So you have 2 chances to make it to the higher tiers, and if you manage to mess up them both, well, I don't know what to tell you. They're not, I'd say it's, I don't know, I'd say it's pretty fair. I'm going to be showing both pathways through this stage because you may have noticed the arrow is pointing different ways. Yeah, it splits up for a little bit. The warp zone can be accessed on the other pathway, but I wanted to show the entire stage because I like both paths just fine. This one is outside what's left of this station, and it's just tons and tons of enemies, and the other one has more stage hazards, more crushing doors and bombs and stuff.
I'm going ahead. Back me up, Fox.
I'm not sure Peppy can die here, but he can take a lot of damage. That's one thing I like about the teammate system, is that they recover at least some health at the end of it. I think it depends on just how many enemies you manage to take down. So, yeah, as long as they have enough health left after the last stage, they'll be able to survive most things in the next stage. And now I'm showing you the other path through this stage. And this is where we can access the warp zone, as you'll see in a little bit.
I can't wait to see this secret weapon.
Let's just enjoy the music for a moment. So yeah, what a cool stage. I mean, it's got great visuals, it's got great music, it's got a great atmosphere, it's got tons of enemies. Is there anything else that could make me like this stage even more?
I'm gonna open open the gate. Back me up. Bill, you're okay. Of course, I'm here to help.
Yay! So this is how you access the other warp zone. You just have to open these 4 gates by shooting them enough times, which is really hard to do, even if your laser is fully powered up. Like you see even now, I have just barely enough time to do it, even with Bill helping me. He basically takes down half of these things' health, so you can just to make things easier for you. So there's a reason to try to go to Katina before going to this stage.
Yeah! Just one more!
If you manage to open all 4 of them, though, you're gonna see the same magic that we saw earlier. Very surreal.
Take it easy, Fox. Don't let us down.
And here we go!
They've gone to plaid.
And just like that, welcome to the other warp zone. It's not quite as fun as the other one. That one was just a power trip where you could go to town on all the enemies and get lots of upgrades and stuff. This one is just kind of more of a challenge, just lots of hazards and stuff. There aren't that many enemies, so it's not a very good place to try to get the medal if you haven't already taken on a bunch earlier in Sector X. But, you know, I felt it was worth showing off. So, there are 3 places you can go after this stage. You can go to Titania, that's the easiest one because you don't really have to do anything. And if you manage to take down the boss within a certain amount of time, you'll go to Macbeth. And if you manage to reach this place, you'll go to Sector Z. So that's like one of the only planets in the game that I can think of that gives you access to 3 other places. Just another thing that I love about Sector X. It's just, I think it's one of those stages that kind of goes largely ignored by fans of this game. And I just wanted to give it its due, like a lot of other things in this game. This is something that appeared in the original Star Fox. They brought it back in Zero, and here it is here. I don't get it, but you don't have to get things like these. They're just cool. Just, another thing that makes games like these interesting. Boy, I have just run out of things to say about this game. Well, not this game, just, these stages. Again, I wanted to show everything off. I'm sorry that my commentary isn't that inspired. I've had to do several takes of these because I just couldn't get things going right, and I've kind of worn out my voice. But, I'm gonna make sure these videos are presentable. I'm gonna make sure they're acceptable. What am I even saying? My word, this is depressing. Oh, how about that? I actually managed to get the medal. Now here's what's interesting about this path. Yes, there is a path where you can zigzag from either side of the map and make it through. You can go to all 3 sectors. I don't know if there's even like a special name for this run that people are giving it, but it is interesting to me that you can like go around Solar and just visit all 3 of these sectors in a single run. It's probably the most roundabout way to get to Venom, but I think it's pretty satisfying to be able to just streak across the map from one side to the other in an instant just like that. Very cool. And here's the other path. Well, actually, I already went through this one. Well, now all that's really left to show is the boss. As you can see, I also managed to get the medal here because of how I spammed those bombs at the start. Not a terribly challenging stage. It's just, it's a very memorable one to me.
What the heck? Fox, look behind you! So this is the secret weapon.
Destroy. Destroy. Enemy shield analyzed. I will terminate all enemies.
I actually will have a little bit more to say about this stage when we get to Zonus. Anyway, meet the Spyborg. This is one of the more interesting bosses. It's not even really evil, it just kind of has this childlike demeanor where it doesn't really know what's going on and it just wants to meet its creator. I would normally take it down much faster than this, but I kind of went easy on it because I wanted to show off some of his other attacks. But for a while I just kept doing this same one over and over again, and yeah, I'm sorry if it ends up being kind of boring. But again, it's one of the more interesting bosses in the game. It just kind of fits into the tone that the 3 stages on this row have, which again I'll get into later.
You are an enemy. Yippee! You did it!
Huh? What?
The view is clear. Destroy.
This is where the fight gets much more intense. His attacks are more vicious, he'll pull bits of debris to throw them at you, and hold that thought.
Slippy, get back here!
If you fail to save Slippy there, you are going to be demoted to the bottom path and you are going to stay there for the rest of the game. That's like your last chance to make it to like the higher tiers. And I just went to town on the guy. So yeah, if you manage to take the Spyborg down before Slippy gets himself swiped away like an idiot, you'll be able to head to Macbeth. There's not really any special cutscene or whatever to see, it's just that Slippy is still with the team.
Looks like he's on Titania. Slippy can be such a headache.
So yeah, Slippy really stepped in it this time. Tried to be the man, and look at where it got him. He should know to just lag behind the rest of the team, like a good little frog. So again, if you fail to save Slippy and you end up being sent to Titania, there is no way to reach the other pathways past that point. You're going on the bottom one. But, you know, considering they let you go through, like, most of the map before reaching that point, again, I think it's pretty fair. Sector X gives you plenty of chances to reach the other tiers. See you in Part 3, where we take our first steps into Andros' territory and introduce 2 new gameplay styles. Wouldn't that be neat? Just kill me already.